That's a nice camera right there.
Yeah, that's my HD
Wow.
camera.
Wow,
What
it's
do you
like
think?
so clear.
Yeah.
You can see everything. Oh man, you can see the strings on my hair.
Yeah,
That
I
thing
have
is really clear.
a few up here as
Wow.
well. Like, oh, so
What's that right
we
there?
don't do any of
All right, you guys. Here it is. I'm laying it out. My truth, where I've been, what's been going on, why you guys have been seeing the disappearing acts with me in and out, and where I'm going from here. I am being bold and I am reclaiming my life. Happy New Year. Happy 2022. Let's get started. Trigger warning, sensitive things will be discussed. If you think you feel uncomfortable or triggered, I completely understand. Thank you for your support.
All right. So, hello, everybody. It's LaShondra. And yes, it does look a little different. The setup is different today because, as I promised you, I do have my best friend on the line with me, Nikia. And so, Nikia is going to help me with just really, because sometimes it's hard to where you find the beginning and then you find an end point. So she's really going to help me and be your guys' perspective. So she's going to ask me these questions that you guys may have. And we set this up to where I'm able to have a structured way to get this out. So you guys know what in the what has been going on with LaShondra. Where has she been? So you guys, I'm ready to just get it out there, talk about it so that you guys are in the know. So Nikia.
Hello. Nice to meet you guys. Like she told you, we're friends from elementary. If you catch me looking over here, because she's over on the side of my screen, so I'll be looking over here a lot.
On the other side.
Yeah, like I'm just like, okay, let me try to look straight, but you're over here. But before we get started, I want to tell you guys, please be mindful of your questions and understand that this is a very touchy subject for her. So please be mindful and just be careful how you ask the questions, please. Thank you.
Okay, so we did not rehearse this, you guys. I promise you. She even asked me, do you want to set up some questions in advance? And I was like, no, just I wanted this. You guys know how I do. I do not script anything. So I wanted her to just ask me these questions. And some of these questions she has as well. Okay. Ask me questions, and I'm going to give you guys like my raw, real responses because on my channel, I keep it real 100 all the time. So, okay, where are we going to start?
Okay, I think you should start from the beginning of how, or you want to give them a brief description of, you know, and then
Okay.
tell
Well, okay, I'll tell you guys roughly. In 2019, you guys probably realized there was a sudden shift in my channel where it went from me being married to suddenly I was talking about how you can make it work teaching online and still make ends meet by diversifying your portfolio as a single mom. And some people, very few people started, with the little questions of single. Oh, you're single now. Okay. And so in 2019, where there was that transition there, then it was something that happened that was like boom, all of a sudden it wasn't planned. And it did cause me to make some decisions to where I decided, you know what, we're going to be like, it's going to be me and my children. And at that time, that's when something was brought to my attention from my baby girl. And that's, you guys have, I don't know if you've seen her because she's really camera shy. So every time the camera gets ready to be turned on her, she's always going like this. But you guys are very familiar with little Jude the dude, because he's always in camera. You guys just saw him running in the background just a moment ago. He's always in the camera for you guys. But it was brought to my attention one day where I was still teaching with Dada. I was doing Dada, I was doing Cambly, and it was September of 2019. And she came to me and was like, Mom, I had just got off the computer, just closed down. I think I still even had like bunny ears or some type of headband on from class. And she goes, Mom, I'm scared. And I was in the bathroom. I had just shut down. And you know how you like, you're holding it after all that teaching. You're like, okay. And now, so I had ran to the bathroom, using the restroom. And she was like knocking on the door, Mom, I'm scared. And I was like, oh, okay, hold on, sweetheart. I'll be out in a minute. She was like, okay, I need to tell you something. I was like, okay, sweetie. You know, and at that time, when she came in there and told me, then my ex-husband at the time and my son, my oldest son, they had just left the house to go to a soccer game. So they were going to the soccer game, and she wanted to tell me, she was scared about something. So I'm coming out the bathroom and I'm thinking like she had a bad dream or there's a bug. And then, those two were the ones that killed bugs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the bug somewhere, like a spider or something. And we're going to have to tackle this thing together. So I'm getting in like, oh my goodness, spider mode, get the broom and everything. So I come out, I was like, yeah, what's up? What's up? And she's like, I don't know how many of you guys have kids, but she was sitting there like on the sofa balled up. And she was rocking and she was crying. And I was like, baby, what's wrong? And that's when she goes, I don't know how to say it. And that's the day that I found out that my then husband, now ex, had touched her inappropriately. And I am so, so proud of her for coming to me and telling me that that was going on. So as soon as she told me, then I was just like, wait, tell me everything. What happened? Like, how did this happen? Where? And she was like, yeah, I was laying there and then he came in my room and, like she was asleep. But when he came in the room, it woke her up, but her head was facing the wall. So he didn't see that she had stirred in being awake. And then it was just like inappropriate touching, like, and so I was like, what do I do? Do I call the police? Do I call who do I call first? So I called our church pastor and I was like, help me. This is what happened. So what's the first thing I do? Like, do I call the police and they sit here and wait because he's not even here? They wait for him to come home, or what do I do? So then they were like, come to the church and we will help you. We went, me and her, and it was Jude, me, her, and Jude at the time, went to the church and we were sitting there and they were talking to us. We told them what happened and we are very active in the church. They were like, oh my gosh, okay. What time is he expected to get back? Okay, well, tell him to come here. So they provided a safe environment for us. So we went to the church. And so instead of me having to confront all this at home by myself, we were at church with people at the church and people that we trust. It was the pastor and some other people that were there that are trusted church members. And so they said, just tell him to come here and tell him we want to meet with them, which is not unheard of. So he was just like, why do they want to meet with me? I was like, oh yeah, they need to see you and talk to you. So we're already here. Come on. He was like, okay, I'll come to the church. So he came onto the church and then that's when it was brought to his attention that it was brought to my attention that this is what happened this morning. And he didn't admit to it. He denied. But I stood by my daughter and I was like, I believe her. I believe her. She's not going to lie about that. She's not a liar. I believe her. And I'm just like boo-hooing. And I'm like, seriously? Like, and then you're denying it, denying it. I don't know what I expected. I don't know if I would have felt any better if you would have said, yep, I did. I don't think I would have felt any better, but it was just like everything was happening in slow motion. It was so surreal. And then he got so upset. We're still at the church, and he was just like, got upset, like, I didn't do this and did it. And you know what? I'm not taking this any further. And we're still at the church. He, because he had met us there, so he still had his car. He drove. My son was at the house. He dropped my son off at the house, and he drove, came back to the house, packed all his stuff up, and left. And that was the last time I ever seen him. Never saw him again. Never saw him again in person. That's the last time I ever seen him. And then from that point on, then it was, phone calls after phone calls. We did contact DHS through the church. They were like, we need to call the police and we need to call DHS. And so we made a police report. We called DHS and made a report with that because it's something involving a child. So we had to. And I was just like, I'm scared. I'm like, are they going to take my kids while they're investigating? Are they going to remove them from the, I don't, it's just like every movie that I had ever watched was running through my mind at that moment. And I didn't know what was going to happen, but I did know one thing for sure. And that was that I believed my daughter and I stood by her. And I was just, all I wanted to do was just hold her. And she was so scared. She didn't even want to come home. She was like, I don't want to go home. I want to stay with somebody else. I was like, and I couldn't take it personal because I'm just like, but I'm mom. I protect you. I'm mom. And she was like, I just don't want to go home. She did end up coming home. I promised her he would never step foot in our house again, ever. And it was, it, I really assured her. And then she came home with me and she was just scared that there was going to be some retaliation or something was going to happen to her. And I was like, baby, I will keep you safe. And so, he had left. And when he left, he even left the key. And I was like, they asked me, do you think he made another key? I was like, no, I really don't think so. So, but, we took all precautions, but he left the key and everything. Cleared out all of his clothes, shoes, socks. Not like a couple of outfits, like somebody's moving out, like cleared out all the necessities that you need to make it for a long period of time. And so I was just like, oh, so you're so innocent that you moved out, basically. Obviously we have the furniture and everything else, but you're innocent. I didn't believe he was innocent anyway. So we were dealing with that. And you guys, mind you, at this time with everything going on, I still have to teach. I still had to take my appointments. I didn't even have time to take a day off. I didn't have time to be like, I want to put in leave because I need to process some things. It was like next day, like camera action, time to get on. But what suffered was YouTube. I just couldn't. I just
Didn't
what
know.
do I talk about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what do I talk about? I can't just fake it for YouTube. It was too fresh to come out. There was still an investigation that had to go on. I couldn't talk about it because they already told me, you can't talk about it. You can't do this because, you guys know, like the legalities of stuff, like stuff has to go through court. It has to be, everything has to go through its due. So I was just like, all right, work as normal. And I did a video, you guys, a while back where I was like, sometimes you got to fake it. And none of my clients knew what I was going through because I was, hi, how are you today? Just, hi, Leo, neighbor. Just teaching those classes. And they were just like happy to see me. And then it was like after class, I was just like, all right, what are we going to do today? And me just making sure my kids got everything they need, just loving on them, knowing that I just wanted them to know that I was here. Like, there's a point in time where I wanted all of them. You know, I have teenagers. I wanted all of them to just get in bed with me and we just snuggle. Like, you guys come in here. Let's watch a movie together. Let's just be in the same room. It's just, and it was really hard. Like for my daughter, she would sleep with her door closed, and it was a while before she even felt comfortable sleeping with her door open. And I'm talking, this happened in 2019. She probably didn't start opening her door when she slept. Because I sleep with my door open because I like to hear what's going on in my house. So I sleep with my door open all the time. And
How old was
my
she when it happened?
let's see, she's 16 now.
Mm.
Wow. No, 15. She's 15 now. 15, 14, 13. So yeah, she was 13 years old when, but apparently it started happening when she was 12. And she kept telling herself, you guys, YouTube is a powerful tool. She kept telling herself, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe he didn't mean to touch me there. Like it would be like, you know how you pick your kids up and you put them in bed? You're like, oh, let me get you up off the sofa and put you in your bed. And when he would do that, he would touch her inappropriately. I'm none the wiser. And she said that that would happen here and there, but she would think maybe his hand slipped. He didn't mean to touch her there. She was, and then she watched a YouTube video. Something in her mind got her curious to research on YouTube. And I teach my kids, come to me, talk to me for anything, open door policy. I even ask them, different things. Uh, you, well, I don't want to get into specifics of specific words, but I'm very specific, like asking them
Like if
about,
anybody touched them inappropriately
yeah,
or
anything, like just anything, like even about attraction to females and boys and whatnot,
yeah.
and safe practices, and hey, you guys, let me know if you guys are ever curious about anything. And I make them, they're like, Mom, I don't want to talk about that. Ew. But I'm like, hey, I'm here for you. Just if you're curious, about anything, if you ever need help with anything, I'm here for you. I've always made that to where it wouldn't be awkward. It's not like something that we've never talked about. Like we don't talk about that. Like they know that they're like, no, Mom, I don't want to. It's yuck. I don't want to talk about that. You're my mom. That type of stuff. But
Yeah.
I made it, like that. I really wanted to set that up to where they were comfortable,
And
which is
that's
why
great.
yeah, I thank God that she came to me when she did. So she was watching YouTube videos, something clicked to where she just started searching things on YouTube, and she would listen to other people's stories of being molested and how it started and signs and warnings. And then what really scared her was she said that she saw a video of a girl that was talking, and she said she at first she thought it was like a mistake. She didn't think it was on purpose. She didn't think much into it. Like it made her uncomfortable, but she didn't read anything into it. She kind of just dismissed it. And then it started being on purpose. Like he was coming in her room on purpose. And then she was so scared, it was almost like she was paralyzed. And then it actually progressed to, it went from molestation to like rape, basically. And so that scared her. And she was like, I have to tell my mom. I have to tell my mom, because she didn't want it to go any further than what it's already been going, because she was scared out of her mind. Because when she was watching videos and they were talking about the progression of predators, how they would kind of test their limits in certain areas and then they would take it to the next step. So then it scared her into wanting to tell me. And I just thank God for that. So, I mean, I actually have YouTube to thank, because although I always had that door open, she just, I know, she was like uncomfortable. Then she was like, that's dad. That's daddy. He just, it was a mistake. His hand slipped. Because, that's dad. You know, you want to think the best of your parents. the people that are put in place to take care of you. So you guys, that happened in it. All of this began September 2019. So you guys can kind of trail the when you guys started to see me less and less and less and less. And so then he finally admitted we never saw him. He stayed on the run, but it was a phone call that we got, and he admitted to us. And this happened in September 2019. He admitted to us towards like the end of November of 2019. So it was like a couple of months, and then he just was like, he prayed, for forgiveness and everything. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I did do those things. And so he turned himself in. So he just got tired of running because they had a warrant out. They had a warrant out for him here. And then they figured that he had moved to Texas. And so they put a warrant out for him in Texas. So he had a warrant out in 2 states. And he lost his job because once his boss caught wind of it, they fired him. And so he had no job. He had a warrant out. He was on the run. He just got tired and turned himself in. He called me and asked me for the number of the detective and said he's going to do it. So I called the detective, was like, we got, and he's admitting it. So he said he's going to turn himself in. And he did. And then he was sentenced. They didn't even have me come to the court. They put us in a program for people that are victims of that type of stuff, families that are going through that. And I asked them, please don't have my children in court having to say, again, I'm a big movie person. So in my mind, I'm thinking of the movies where they're sitting there on the stand crying. It was him, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am not putting my kids, I'm not doing that. So I asked them, I said, please, what can we do to where they can tell their part, but then we don't have to be involved in the court part of it. And since he admitted to it, they didn't need a jury or anything like that. It was just him and the, attorney. It was his attorney. I guess him and his attorney. And it ended up being against the state. So instead of like us sitting there like accusing, you know how you see on TV, like it's like us, the family, and then him, and then it was him, and then the state of Oklahoma actually represented us. So it was the state that was prosecuting him.
Mm-hmm.
He was prosecuted by the state of Oklahoma. We didn't have to be there. They recorded my children. They took us to this therapeutic place and put them all in separate rooms. Even little Jude, they asked me, was it okay? Did I consent to it? They said everything will be recorded. And so they had me in a room. They had little Jude in a room with toys and everything. And they were very gentle with him because he was only 3, you guys. He was 3 years old. He's 6 now. He was 3.
So
they
why
just had
did
him.
they ask him, like, Jude, what?
Yeah, they were asking him questions like, basically, how does he feel? Because they can't ask anything direct. So it was like, how are you feeling?
Mm-hmm.
What did you do today? And they had him draw pictures. So he was drawing pictures. He was playing with toys. They watched to see like, what is he drawing in his pictures? When he's playing with toys, like, how is he playing with his toys? What is his verbiage like? You know how when they play with toys, you could tell like some things that may happen at home. That's how they play with their toys. And so they kind of just watched him that way. And it made me cry when they told me that he's a happy little boy. It was like, he's so happy and he's so loved. And they said sometimes things can surface later on, especially with him being so young, and he may not have a lot of memories of his father. And whatever memories he does have, and with the absence of having a father, there could be some aggression, maybe, but they gave me some things to look for, and things to look for in case he would have been touched too, because you never know. You never know. And so they said, look for these things. And they gave me like this booklet. They even gave me a book to read. Um, basically, it talks about like um, I forgot the name of the book. If I was more prepared, I would have brought the book. Maybe that'll be another video where I will actually show you guys the book because it's like a therapeutic book, and you read it to your children, and it just helps them with how to express themselves and being confident in their bodies, like their body. And it's not like weird in any way to make where it would make you feel uncomfortable or suggest anything. It's a really nice book. And so they gave me a book, they gave me like pamphlets and everything. They put all of us in a separate room. They put me in a room and just really just let me talk about my concerns, ask any questions I have, let me cry for as long as I wanted to cry for. And then they had, Yanni in a room. They had Xavier in a room and talked to them, and just they can't ask anything direct. Like they can't like coax answers out of them. They have to be very broad in their questioning. Like, so how do you feel about everything that's going on? Like that type of stuff. Like, so when you woke up this morning, what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts coming here today? Stuff like that. And asking, would you like to share with us the events that led up to, and that's when she shared the whole story. And even from her sharing that on the video, I learned some things that she didn't even tell me. So more stuff came out because she was with, I guess you could say, a non-biased person. They made us feel really comfortable. Like they had like hot chocolate and pillows and video games and stuffed animals. And I mean, like they don't just like come in and then separate. They had us sitting together for a while. We were there for like 3 hours. They have you sitting together, and it's like it looks like a house. It's decked out like a house. And they tell the kids to go explore and hang out. And then they kind of gently just pull them one by one into rooms and just have them hang out and talk to them. And like, oh, I like your shirt. Just it's really comforting, really therapeutic. And so that's when more stuff came out. And so they used the recordings. And if they needed to, that's what was going to hold in court. But they didn't even have to refer to that because he admitted to every, everything. And my oldest daughter, you guys know I have an older daughter that is in college right now. She's now a junior in college. When all of this came out and everything hit the fan, and that's when it was the first night. I was like telling her what happened. I was like, I need you to come over. So I don't want to tell her on the phone, like, guess what? So, and she doesn't live with me. So she has her own, she has roommates and she's living on her own. So I was like, I need you to come over. It's something very important. We had a family emergency, but nobody's hurt like that. Nobody's in the hospital. We just need to see you tonight. And I told her that night, and her response, she broke down crying, like broke down crying in a different way, in a way that was scary to me. And then she said, I'm so sorry because I feel like if I would have said something, this wouldn't have happened. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And that's when she said, it happened to me too. And I was just no good after that. I was no good. I called the police department that night and updated. I was like, I want to update on what was reported because I just talked to my oldest daughter and she said it's happened to her. Now, at the time, my oldest daughter is 21 right now. At the time, she was 18. Yeah, 18. She was 18 at the time. And she told me that it happened to her starting. She said it was around when she was 8 years old. 8 years old. And it went on all the way up until she said it was like less and less. And then it just completely stopped until when she was like 12, 12 or 30. Like she couldn't even give me exact, you know, age ranges. She was like, it was about when she was 8. That's when she first remembers. Her first memory of it was when she was 8. And it just led up all the way up until she was about 12. She said about 12. And then she thought that everything was okay, like he was going to change and he was going to be a different person. Because during that time, our marriage wasn't great either. We was always working on something, always working on something. I had left and came back, and I left him and then came back. And so that last time when I took him back, she was about 12 years old. And she said she really thought that he was a changed person. And another reason why she said she never told me, well, for one, she said she was scared. For two, what really just tore me up was she said that and this is where it gets a little hard.
It's okay. Take your time.
This is where she said that she didn't want me to be a single mom and have to struggle. She didn't want she was she didn't say anything because she was concerned about me.
That's how
And so
kids think.
yeah, and I'm just like, I've always taught them, just come to me. I'm always there for you. And then she kept it to herself for from 8 years old until 18. And she probably would have took it to her grave if everything wasn't exposed. I don't know. But she kept it to herself for that long because she didn't want me. She didn't want me to suffer. Like she wanted to keep the family together. She didn't want me to have to struggle or have a hard time. And so, because I was always think, I always had goals, and just like I share goals and stuff with you guys, I do that with the kids. Okay, we have a goal. Let's let's do this, and we're gonna save up for this vacation. We're gonna do that. And in her mind, she was like, we need him for us to have balance, I guess. And so, oh,
Yeah, and
that
most
was
of
tough.
the times the kids blame themselves. Like, what did I do for this to happen? You never know what type of things they're thinking. So it's really hard to come tell your mother.
Yeah. So, and then it's like, oh, I stayed by myself, and I stayed by myself, like, and it just so happened, like people think of the pandemic as like, oh my gosh, the world shut down. It was therapeutic for me. It was like happy, happy. I mean, okay, not what was going on, but the fact that I didn't have to deal with people. I didn't have to talk to people. I didn't have to go anywhere. It was like, it was like exactly what I needed at that time, to where I'm like, what? I don't have to, like, I don't have to look at people. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to. So I was able to just hide in the comfort of my house, and I didn't do anything. It really, it was therapeutic for us as a family. So instead of us having to All right, life goes on. We got to go here. We got to go. You got to go to school. You got practice. You got this. You got that. It was like, oh no, the world is shut down. Well, you don't have anything to do right now but face each other. And that was my favorite thing to do, was to just be home with my kids. And I gave you guys a few videos during that time, and I really just, oh man, I made more income. I mean, I had more money with just me and these kids than I did when I was married. I mean, it's mind blowing. I just really focused on loving myself more, loving, just pouring into my kids and showing them that I'm here. It wasn't the hustle and bustle of everything. We woke up together, sat at the table. We watched movies together. We played games together. It really forced us to just really just, we were in each other's faces. There was no hiding anywhere from one another. We just shut the world out and just focused on us. And they were happy. They, I mean, it was almost like everything else that was going on in the world was a blur, because we had created our own indoor paradise. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like you guys were in your comfort zone and you guys were able to heal together. That's what it's
Yeah.
sounding like. And you're not having to, be uncomfortable in front of people explaining what happened. Your husband is gone and things are changing, and you're the mother, so you're able to protect the kids, like, I don't want no one to get close, like that, and how
I think
long.
that's what it is. I
Mhm.
think you just hit it right there. It was like they were home with me. I
Mm,
knew where they were. And
yeah.
it's me. It's them and me.
Yep.
And I was happy with that. It was just us. So I never really thought about that, but it's like, yeah, that makes complete sense. I was able to protect them from the outside world because they were in these walls of this house. I knew, I saw, I heard, and it was comforting to me. And they were happy. Like, they weren't even bored. Like, we would just, I mean, we would put a movie on and turn the TV up to the highest volume. If we wanted to just turn on some music and dance around in our pajamas and wear the same pajamas for 3 days, we could do that. Like, we could just, I mean, we could be as ridiculous as we wanted to be. And it didn't matter what anybody else said or thought about it, because it was us.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it's like we found a deeper joy than we already had. And it's, I needed it. And if I was to speak for my children, I think they needed it too, because it really showed me another layer of them, where even though at night she was still closing her door in 2020, in the daytime, she was, because before everything happened, she was a little more closed off, kind of, I don't want to go anywhere. I just wanted to do my own thing. She was more like, let's watch a movie together, coming in my room and just hanging out. Let's do something together. And we just really needed that. We just really did.
Yeah,
And
a lot of
so
us did.
yeah.
More family time, and a lot of us did. So
Yeah. I mean, some of us got a heavier dose than others.
mhm.
Some of us overdosed on family, and it just, but for us, it was a right on time prescription. It was right on time. And I mean, it was like, for my household, it was almost God ordained for this house. I mean, I'm not trying to negate all of the bad things that happen and people that have lost people. I know that's hard. It's almost like if we didn't watch the news, if we didn't look at social media, and we just lived in our own little bubble in this house, we would have never known that it was so bad, because we were in our own little utopia within these walls. Like it was just like, we just do what we do when we do it. Who cares what anybody else thinks? It's us.
I feel like that's great because some people, this happens a lot and it's unspoken about, even not even just with stepdads, it's brothers, cousins, that are doing this to family members and they don't tell, or they just want to keep it within the family. So I feel like it's great that you're able to open up and tell your subscribers about what happened. And I feel like it's great that, it did happen when it did, not saying that it's happened, but you were able to heal with your children, because most moms and children have to, go on with the day to day, going to school, going to work, and just trying to just get over it. So it is hard. So
Yeah. Whew. Well, YouTube, I told you guys it was gonna be a little heavy, but that's where I've been. I just haven't really been in a mental state to where I can be as helpful like I was with, because all the things I said I wanted to share, I still want to share. I just couldn't do it then. It was like when I wasn't working, my brain just shut off. And it was just the only thing I was capable of doing is my day-to-day stuff in my house with my kids. And I couldn't process or do anything else. I had even started a business in 2019 and it went okay in 2020. It was starting to pick up momentum. Then it was just like, I don't know, when everything started to open up again, then it was, like Nikia really hit the nail on the head when she was talking about how, you know, feeling safe and protected, because it was just like, oh no. So I'm like, wear your mask. And I'm texting and call me and check in. And like I had a list of be safe, wash your hands, don't rub your eyes, don't
that
don't
sounds like me.
right. If your friends give you something, say no thank you. Don't eat it. No, you can't get a ride from anybody. No. I will come get you. No, you can't go. I know somebody's having a birthday party. Not today. Not this time. Maybe next time. There'll be other parties. And I'm just like, everything was like intense.
Mhm.
And and it's just now starting to where I'm just like, we finally found that happy medium in life to where it's like, here we go. And another book is opening up. And I'm ready. So I know there's got to be some questions. So what do you think, Nikia? Any questions you can think of?
Well, you kind of like went through went through everything. So I feel like the things that you did tell was pretty much, the basics of what you needed to let them know. It depends on you if you want to open up and tell them the specifics of what actually happened, but it's all up, to your comfort zone. So I don't think
Yeah.
any other questions that I would have, but other people may have other questions.
Come here. So I still have my pet rats. That's one thing. And then this cat right here. This cat has been therapeutic for us. We just got him at the beginning of
He don't want to be
20.
on the camera.
No, he don't. He's like, if you don't put me down, this is
Oh.
Gone Dio. So if any of you guys are anime people, and yes, cats and a cat and rats. Go figure. But it works. It works. So new developments, you guys know, you guys have seen Boss Baby, aka Oliver. So I am in a new relationship. I have Oliver and the cat. So you guys can see a lot of that, a lot of this fresh new energy on the page. Feel free to come with any questions that you guys have. As Nikia said, be nice. Be nice, you guys. Nikia, I appreciate you so much. You guys have no idea how much we've discussed. And then, you know, not just my story, but Nikia knows women in her personal life, which is why I briefly mentioned it, you guys, Motherhood Steps. So Nikia, that's the mama right there, the mama of Motherhood Steps.
Yeah, the founder.
Yes. So Motherhood Steps was birthed from basically women that just want to or need to gain independence with being a mother, being knowing that they're able to go out there and mom. They can mom on their own and giving them the resources they need, not just short-term help, but long-term. And so we're gonna have links to, if you guys are wondering, okay, I want to know more about Nikia. Nikia's starting, she just started her YouTube channel. That's her 2022 things to get out there. So you guys know more about her. I'm telling you, she has a fantabulous life in California. I think so. This is her every day. But I'm just like, you went where and got what? And you going where? So you guys
happened so fast.
And she has, like, I have 5 children. And you have how many?
I have 7 biological, but I have 2 stepchildren, so it's 9 altogether.
Yes, and then you have grandkids.
Yeah, I have 4 with all the 9, and then I have my oldest daughter. She has 2. I have a lot of stuff going on over here, but yeah.
Yes, and then you guys know, like a while ago, what was it, 2015? No, 2017. 2017 is when I lost my little baby Eleanor, and I touched on that as well. And Nikia was there for me as well through that.
Yeah.
So she knows, we've known each other since elementary. So I'm going to drop the link for the website for the nonprofit Motherhood Steps to help moms really be thriving as independent mothers. Yes. So much is coming.
If you guys didn't know that she is an author, don't they know you're an author, right?
Yes, they know. Yes. And they've been waiting
on
for
my
me to give them
story,
information on how to publish books. It's coming, you guys. It's coming.
Mm-hmm. She's working on my story of what happened in my childhood. So be looking out for that.
And I'm telling you guys, it's a story. Like, it's been in the news. It's still in news. It made national news. And there's a story, a whole story coming out. Trust me, you guys will not be left behind. You guys and her followers, you guys will be the first to know. All the links will be in the description box below. Thank you guys for rocking with me, for supporting me, and cheers to 2022. Thank you, Nikia.
Thank you. Goodbye.
TTFN.